Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to talk some Friday the 13th today, and specifically, I want to talk about Pamela Voorhees and why this franchise has wasted and disrespected her entire legacy and the entire character.
If you like horror, hit that notification bell, smash that like button, and push that subscribe button now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Nick Push. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we're talking Pamela Voorhees today, and I got some opinions that I was thinking about last night as I lay in bed on Pamela Voorhees. And I'm telling you right now, as I was thinking about it, I started thinking this franchise has really fucking dropped the ball. And what I mean by that is most of the sequels, Pamela isn't even mentioned. Yes, okay, she played a huge part in the first one, and we're getting something soon, which we'll talk about, which is going to focus heavily on her. But but where is the mention of her in the sequels? Now, of course, I'm not talking about part two, right? Part two, she plays a huge role with Jason shrine to her, Ginny putting on the sweater. We get Betsy Palmer coming back. But after that, other than a stupid fucking jump scare in part three when she magically puts her head back on, or Chris for some reason has a vision of her jumping out of the water. I don't know why Chris would even know who Pamela is when she doesn't even know who Jason is, because Jason is never mentioned in Friday the 13th part 3. It's the only movie that his name is never said out loud. So other than that, where is the mention of Pamela Voorhees? Like I said, obviously this franchise started with her, right? Jason drowned as a boy. Pamela comes and takes her revenge. All right, and I know a lot of people don't love the original. I personally do. I think it's fantastic. It might be the best in the franchise. I know that's blasphemy, but just my opinion. But after that, okay, we get part two where Pamela is a big part. Part three, like I said, we get the stupid fucking jump scare, which makes no goddamn sense. Okay? Part four, is Pamela mentioned? If she is, that's news to me because I can't think of it. Part 5, I don't think she's mentioned. Part 6, we're going to talk about part 6 in a second here, so hang on because I think part 6 is where the ball is really dropped here. But part 6, no. Part 7, I don't think so. Part 8, maybe. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but maybe. I don't think so. We get Rennie with the visions of young Jason in the bottom of the lake. And I don't think so. Jason goes to hell. Of course, she's mentioned. Right? We got the Voorhees house. I don't know if they actually say the word Pamela, but she is mentioned, or alluded to, I should say. Okay. What was that? Jason Goes to Hell. So, Jason X, I don't believe so. Freddy vs. Jason, yes, she plays a role at the beginning. Okay, I will give Freddy vs. Jason that. And the remake, yeah, I guess she's mentioned, right? She's at the beginning too, right, of the remake. But I want to circle back here because we know that Jason is killing because legend has it he saw his mother beheaded that night, right? So Pamela's killing because of Jason. And what happened to Jason? Jason is killing because of Pamela. And we get all these sequels about Jason killing. But ever since part 2, Pamela really didn't play a big part in that, with a couple little crappy exceptions towards the end of the franchise. So I want to circle back to where she should have been mentioned. Because I'm not saying she needs to play an integral role in every movie here. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. But because of her importance to the reason that Jason is killing and the reason that this franchise exists, I think the franchise kind of did her dirty. And most of the sequels, I should say, did her dirty. And I get it, right? It's the 80s. Once they got the hockey mask on Jason, all bets are off, right? That's just what people want. Hockey mask Jason slaughtering teens in the wilderness, or New York, or space, or wherever, right? That's what we wanted. But I think we should have dove again into the psychology of Jason, and that starts with Pamela fucking Voorhees. Okay? That's where it starts. And where am I going with this, with part 6, right? So obviously Tommy kills Jason. Yes, he killed him at the end of part 4. We get Roy Burns in part 5, right? And then Tommy resurrects Jason in part 6. Okay? And he has the stupid plan, and I know people love part 6. I don't mind part 6. I don't love it. But I get why people love it. But Tommy has a stupid plan, so don't yell at me for saying stupid plan, but it's a stupid fucking plan. He has a stupid plan of, putting Jason at the bottom of the lake, where it all started, right? Where it all began. is kind of where it is. And I get the symbolism behind that. I completely get that. But I think they dropped the ball here in including something about Pamela in that lore and in Tommy's plan. I really, really think they should have had Pamela in there. And I know Elias was going to be in there in early drafts of the script at the end. I get all that. But it all comes back to Pamela. And I don't have an idea of what they could have done, you know. Maybe it was a Never Hike Alone thing where they need to destroy the head. It's one thing that I was actually mixed on at first in Never Hike Alone. But I've grown to appreciate it and the symbolism and, you know, Pamela's importance, right? So if Tommy, adult Tommy, resurrects Jason, puts him at the bottom of the lake, right? But I think they needed to get something with Pamela in there. You know, Tommy, yes, he's been locked in an insane asylum, right? Ever since there, he kind of lost his mind, right? It's what it's implied, right? Why isn't he studying up on Jason and coming right back to Pamela? Why? They really missed the boat there. And some of it is the fans' fault, right? You know, we didn't care. You know, we just wanted Jason back, you know? But they could have got into the psychology of Jason Voorhees a little bit more, in my opinion. And it all comes down to the importance of Pamela. Now, we're obviously coming full circle here, right? We're getting a Crystal Lake TV show, knock on wood. It's in at least pre-production, possibly actual production. But that's going to start with the focus on Pamela, which, yes, it's unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. You know, I would prefer just, you know, a mom went crazy because her son died, right? And they weren't paying any attention to him, right? You know, I would prefer that. But at least they're coming full circle and they're going to give us some Pamela. What they do with it, we'll fucking see. My confidence level is mixed on it, but I am excited for it. But I do think that we need to remember as Friday fans, yes, Jason is the brand. Completely the brand. I'm not saying that every story should be focused on Pamela, but I'd like to dive into Pamela's importance to Jason, which in turn is her importance to the franchise. So tell me if I'm off my rocker here, guys. Do you not want to see any more Pamela? Do you think she's, you know, just, you know, she was in the first movie and we got Jason and we're fine, you know, or are you with me? Are you with me? Do you think, you know, even if not everything's woven into Pamela-centric, that at least some characters are talking about he killed because he lost his mom? And like I said, I know it's mentioned in some later sequels, briefly and probably crappily. But I wanted to see more Pamela as I think about this franchise, or at least her mentioned, or the psychology of Jason mentioned, which, like I said, all ties back to Pamela. So those are my random rumblings for the night. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.